We're live.
It is July 13th, 6 o'clock, opening council meeting. Stand for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Second?
Second.
Motion made to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Approve the minutes of the June 22nd meeting.
So moved.
Second. Motion made and second to approve the minutes of the June 22nd meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Old business?
I'm having a meeting on, next the 20th of July. They're coming down from the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. I think I notified you guys that we had a letter from them about the, possible, issues on the, Birds Farm Store property. So they're gonna come down and do what's called start on what's called a phase one, study of the property. Really is not mostly on ours, I think it's mostly on, actually Roxanne Motormeyer owns a property in the corner there. And so they're gonna come down and they wanna meet at the site and kind of discuss it. I do have some old files, when we did some stuff before on that, so, I'll keep you updated as to what, if anything, happens. And that's, I assume they're probably gonna want to do some soil samples or something, but, so that's what's going on with that.
None of us have to attend that at all.
Not if anybody's free to come if they want, of course, but if somebody wants to come, but they wanted a representative city there, and I have a whole file on, that's pretty old, 30 years old.
I'll be there with you.
Okay,
And
okay.
what time is it?
10 o'clock, Michael?
10 in the morning?
Yeah, 10 a.m., yeah, okay. That's all I have.
What was the date of that?
July 20th, I think that's Wednesday, yeah.
Okay, we'll go into new business. Building permit for Larry Beach. You wanna explain what you mean by a lean-to? You wanna explain what you mean by a lean-to?
Well, lean-to on the side of my garage, on the north side. If you go to Gibson's, the full 16 by the length of the garage, 50.
You're gonna have a roof and sides and,
Yeah, roof and side,
So-
roof will be the same pitch as the other roof.
so you're gonna
But
put
the only fault is now it's building on the pole barn, so I don't know if I can put tin back on it or not. I mean, it was now all I'm gonna do is really move that wall out about 16 feet and then just put some straight tin so the roof runs the same angle as it does now.
What was the footings on the other building? Just the poles into the ground, so you'll have to get pillars
Yeah,
down?
it's a regular pole shed.
And then you'll do the same thing on the other
I
one?
thought I would, pour some pillars down
No,
and
that's
then
all I got.
form our floor over the top of them, and then I can use studs.
Sure. As long as both buildings move the same across, they're gonna move, so that's
Right.
great. Yep.
That's why I thought I would put some pillars down 48 inches,
Yeah.
then pour the floor right across and on the end, on that 16-foot.
You said there's 10 on the current building?
Yep.
And that's visible fastener tin, correct?
The what?
Visible fastener tin,
The-
screws through, right?
Yeah.
Neighbors, nobody's,
No, I thought the all is all three.
Yeah.
I just, I mean,
sounds right, yeah.
and it's to the north, right?
Yeah.
Gibson was the only one that really is gonna bother it. He said, "You let me build on," he said, "I'm gonna let you go." So
Right, absolutely.
that's what he said. a variance anyway. at the time.
And this will be all enclosed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't even have a door on it, I'll have the door from the other building into it.
Oh, sure, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just, as long as it isn't, do you have any setbacks or anything like that, so I don't see, yeah. With the neighbors, everything's all good with it, and if it's continuing on from the other building,
Yeah.
I guess I don't have a problem with it at all.
If you just look in, it's just, you know,
You know,
I know it ain't very good and good, I guess, I don't know how that works. But that building's been there, I don't know how many years.
well, you're just matching the existing.
Yeah, I'll match it everywhere.
So what, do we need, like a motion?
Yeah, you're gonna have a motion in a second.
Yeah, I'll motion to pass it for him.
I'll second.
Motion made, second, pass the addition for Larry Beach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Larry, I'll take care of getting the paperwork in, and I'll let you know when it's all done.
Okay.
You know, you're-
You're welcome to stay, or you're welcome to leave, it's up to you.
Well, I'd like to listen to one more,
Very
just for the curiosity.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Chris? Well, I think we should put it someplace besides.
Hello,
the water
thanks
tower.
for letting me come and introduce myself about what I had wrote in the letter in regarding. I represent the Minnesota Wisconsin Radio Group. It is a group of amateur radio operators that volunteer their time to assist in emergency communications or emergency situations, as well as any type of events that may be occurring, like the long several-mile bike rides, things like that. Amateur radio operators volunteer quite a bit along those routes and in emergency communications situations. And the reason I'm here today is because I am trying to see if we can work something out on putting a repeater communication system on top of the water tower. The purpose of that communication system would be so that we could interconnect with some of the other systems in Goodhue County as well as in Olmsted County at the Mail Building specifically. There's another group in Rochester that has data communications that we'd like to try to interconnect with. And that it just allows us to be able to be another piece for the city, the police department, other law enforcement agencies to assist in any type of emergency type of situation. And that's what I'm here for today. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about it, but that's what I'm here to ask, if we can use part of the water tower and throw an antenna up there and have a little room down below for some equipment.
I have one issue on that. When we, on a different council, decided on that water tower, we were gonna allow one company on that tower.
Sure.
And that's Verizon's on there. So I just wondered if there's could be that tower at Dave Ryan's, be to the west of it, or the fire hall tower.
We did check with the tower next to it, because that is just as high as the water tower, but that there was no approval on that. They weren't interested in that. I checked with Steve Wolf. He was, I guess he's family of them. That's how I was able to speak with them, but there was no approval on that.
They wouldn't let you?
No.
Just let somebody else on it.
Yeah, no, I saw that. But, the reason that we're kind of checking on the water tower, and we checked on that other tower, is because of the height. The higher the better, so then we can kind of interconnect with some of the other cities' communication systems. I'm not sure how high the fire department tower is. I think that's a little bit shorter, maybe half the height, but
No, yeah, you're down lower in the ground, but
yeah.
So it says that your repeater and associated equipment use 2 feet by 2 feet by 5 feet tall of room. Would you guys be bringing in an enclosure to put that in, or are you?
Yeah, very similar to this up here, it'd just
Okay.
be taller.
Okay, so
Both
you,
the same.
okay. And so you were hoping to have that then inside of our water tower?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
That's what we'd asked for. It is not, I didn't mention too, it's nonprofit, it's not for profit, there's no money making, it's all a group of volunteers that provide this service to the communities.
And now, are you guys certified to climb, or do you have a second, another company coming to put the equipment on, or?
Good question. Depends on what's needed or how to get up there. If it needs to have a certified climber, then we'd get one that is certified, correct?
Okay.
Terry, what was the issue with having more towers?
Well, we didn't want more towers on there for damage on the paint and that.
Okay,
Were you on the council yet then, Lynn? No, you weren't. I thought you
I
were.
don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, that was just it because we didn't want it cluttered up with different companies because there was like 3 companies that wanted to come in.
Yeah.
You know, and
I was on the last time we renewed for Verizon, but not the first time. It was, I think some of that worked.
I mean, it's up to you guys. It's not up to me, so.
I'd be happy to provide photos and other information or other examples. I think, Mayor, you had requested kind of like what are some other examples? There's a group in Red Wing that has a repeater on the radio station tower, right next to the radio station building, so just another one of the examples.
Could, if we do an agreement, could there be something in there about if there was damage to the paint or to the tower that you would be willing to help pay for anything like that, or?
I'm sure. We just need to kind of go over those details, but I wouldn't see why that wouldn't be a problem, and I think we would do everything possible to make sure that didn't happen as well. I think that's super important. And the antenna is, this is over exaggerating, but it's about this in diameter, probably a little smaller, and then it's about 15 feet tall, and it mounts towards the bottom of the antenna. And then there's a cable that goes down from that point.
Another thing we'll have to do is check our lease with Verizon
Right, yeah.
because I don't know if they got exclusive rights to be on it. When we did the lease on it the last time.
Sure.
So I mean, we'll have to look there too, so.
And with, sometimes what we see when we go on to other groups, when I say we, I mean us as a whole, on other towers that have Verizon, have other services, AT&T, the biggest thing that we run across is interference. So if there's any issues with interference, then we're responsible for making sure those interference issues are adjusted. But because we're so far off on frequency, there's little to no possibility of interference when it comes to what frequency we use, what frequency they use.
So what frequency do you use?
The frequency would be about 147, 146 point whatever megahertz.
I ain't sure what they are.
And now, since you guys are gonna be using electricity that will be through the tower, you guys, is there, in other situations, do you guys pay a rental fee or anything like that to have equipment on that tower?
Sure, in most cases, it kind of, it's a little bit, sometimes we'll pay $200 a year, sometimes, they want quite a bit more than that, sometimes they offer it at no cost. It just really depends on the situation, where it's being placed, the city's current circumstances, so, yeah. So as a nonprofit, we don't have endless pockets, obviously neither do you, as a city, but, yeah, we're certainly willing to help with things in that area as well.
Well, I think we should look into this
Oh, definitely, yeah.
and see if we'd be able to accommodate that.
Sure.
However that could work between us.
Yeah, and again, if you have more questions, I'd be happy to provide it. I think there's a lot of details that, I don't want to take your time up for today, but, when looking at that agreement with Verizon, I think if it is solely them, then certainly, I don't know if there's a clause in there that allows for nonprofit organizations or type of emergency communications to be put up there along with that, if that's, that's going to block that option too, or if it's merely a exclusive agreement for like no other AT&T or Sprint or T-Mobile type of situation, but
Yeah,
we see it all, so.
We'll have to look it over before.
Sure.
So do we just need to table this until,
Yeah,
okay,
you wanna make a move?
sure, I move that we table this until we can find out what our Verizon agreement is.
Second that.
Motion was made and seconded to table the antenna mounting rental and with rental, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Well, thank you, Chris.
Yep, thank you, council members, appreciate it.
Water rates increase.
I was watching, I haven't gone so long way. Been helping.
We're falling behind in this account, is that it? Or projected to?
Well, it's real close,
It's awful close.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Did you, have a number that we're gonna need to do, you think?
I don't have a specific number, no, but I guess I would suggest that you do increase it because you're staying even right here. So we have the expense of, the cleaning of the water tower. And I guess
Well, you and I talked, when we talked, come up with so much a month for on the meter. Was it gonna raise like a nickel?
yeah,
I think that would help us out, but each year, you gotta look at this, bring it up because with inflation and cost of, with our rural water and everything else, it's like everything else, it goes up and
Yeah.
we were in the hole for a long time, right now we're holding even. It looks like there's a lot of money in there, but you gotta realize that's for the water tower also.
Absolutely, service and payments, and, yeah.
So that's why it looks like there's a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
just for example, I mean, it's a whole different fund, but like the sewer fund took a $6 increase at the beginning of the year. I guess I personally, by looking at this, wouldn't say $6, that would be outrageous,
Right.
but I would suggest increasing it at least $1 to get somewhere.
Right. When a dollar wouldn't be so noticeable, it
Right.
wouldn't hurt so much.
But on your meter, just, so it'd be,
And
That'd
that's
be
for the
your-
base, yeah.
That'd be your water connection.
yeah.
Cause you'd hate to come back next year and ask for 2 or 3,
Right.
you know?
So you think $1 could be enough?
Because there's 491 accounts, so 491 connections.
That's residential and commercial, that's total.
Do you remember how many, commercial connections you have?
I don't know them separately.
Okay.
And so that would be just for the connection. Is that it? Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a problem with just $1. $1 wouldn't be noticeable to where,
But I mean, $1 barely pays for your tank cleaning in a year.
it won't, but
No, but I mean,
But you wanna stay, wouldn't you wanna stay ahead of it?
yeah, that's what I mean, on the
So I
tier,
almost think of.
on a tier, well, the tier 1 and tier 2 should go up too. That's what we're looking at too.
right, that's your usage.
Correct, yep.
Yeah,
And
I mean, that's where I'd say if you went up a nickel or so much, it isn't gonna be as noticeable either. But every year you should be doing that, so.
everything else keeps going up, so you gotta kinda go with that.
I'm gonna, commercial and residential, water is the same.
there a reason for that? That they're the same, like commercial and residential?
It's very common in the city to have two different commercials typically. Not saying we have to be like every other city.
Well, there's not a lot of commercial left in this town.
Correct. And you can't
So-
grab them.
So this would mean then the minimum water connection would be $23. And then, okay, the tier 1 and tier 2, how much do they go up then?
Well, that's what we gotta talk about. I was suggesting a nickel, but
And a nickel would go a ways, and it wouldn't be so noticeable on the bill.
yep. And then you look at it again in 6 months, you know, see.
Right. Huh.
This is something that just gotta be on top of all the time.
When was this last changed or increased, do you know?
I think it was last year or year before.
Is it?
I of course think if we need to raise, we need to raise, you know, I mean, we just have to.
Right, I'd rather do it in small increments, so it's not so noticeable, because
Yeah.
you just,
Or you don't want to shock everyone.
Yeah, if you don't raise it, eventually you're gonna have to shock everybody.
Right.
Exactly, yep.
That's the bad part, so.
Another thing, how often do we have a bulk fill for a tanker, semi, anything like that?
I think we have had 2 this year.
So when A&A Underground was in town, they were filling up for it?
They had a meter on it, so they'll be billed. A&A's billed, so was, Northern Pipeline.
So we want, I didn't do that.
Northern Pipeline for
Oh.
the gas line.
Okay,
They're directional boring and then they gotta have water with that.
okay.
And so what was their rate, the bulk rate of $50 per 3,000 gallons?
Yes.
Yes.
I guess I don't have a problem with it, just $1 and then a nickel on the tier 1 and tier 2. That's, wouldn't be very noticeable at all on anybody's bills, and if it's gonna help, 'cause we definitely have to clean that water tower. It's something that just has to
Well,
be
that's
done.
coming up tonight too, I got a deal here.
Well, I move that we go with the $1 and the 5 cents for tier 1 and tier 2. We increase the water
Is that for residential and commercial?
for both.
So you're saying could do, can you repeat that, sir?
Yeah, hard enough the first time.
Yeah,
You said a nickel for,
for the tier 1 and the tier 2.
Tier 2 for both of
okay,
them.
and then $1 for the minimum water connection fee.
Yep.
Okay.
You got a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, adjust the water rates. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
I'm gonna leave you.
Have a good day, Larry, thanks for stopping.
Have a good one. Thanks for coming in.
Election judge resolution. This is to hire people for down at the Lions building during the elections. Did you talk to all these, Jill, or
Yes, and these guys have been trained.
they all have?
With the county.
And they're all fine with doing it again, there's,
Yeah.
okay, good. He's
What?
picking on number 6.
Yeah, if somebody else wants to be head election judge, you can have it. It's up for grabs.
Just out of curiosity, it doesn't really matter, what do we pay now for an election judge?
We agreed on at the last council meeting, it's 15, and that's what it has been in the past. and, none of these, men and women have asked for an increase, nor have they compared or anything. And that seems to be what this, consensus is for Belchester, Cannon Falls, and Timbrook.
It's a long day, I know that. It's not easy.
So number 6 has the longest day, so just remember that. And then, so most of them are in a 4-hour block. There's a couple of them, number 5 and number 8 did, take in 2 separate blocks.
Make a motion to approve the list of election judges.
Motion made and second, approve the list of election judges. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Goodhue Lions resolution for a raffle. It's their annual raffle they have every year.
Thought we did something about that, one of the other meetings, didn't we?
I was thinking the same thing, didn't we?
That was a chicken barbecue.
Oh, that's right, that was a chicken barbecue, okay, that's. So this is, what is this for the?
Well, it's the same raffle, it's just gonna be, we have to change it because we changed the date.
Oh,
Instead of the chicken barbecue pulling it, they're pulling it on September
okay.
11th.
Yep,
Oh,
they did
So
that last year.
we have to change it, so
Okay.
they threw the old one out, we're just going back at it.
Right.
And I thought last time there was a discussion, it is a meat raffle?
No,
No, we scratched the meat. This is the raffle.
Okay, so when it says meat raffle on here, we scratch it, okay.
where do you see meat raffle?
On the last one.
Said right on, right there.
You're at the top there. Okay, so it's just a raffle.
Like the sheep that signed.
That's a typo by the gambling manager.
Okay, yep. I was confused because they do the meat raffles for Dars, so I didn't know if that was part of it or not, but no.
Good thing you caught that, Michael.
I was a little confused.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, me too, that's.
No, it's to hold their annual raffle, they give away cash prizes.
Well, I'm motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the Lions resolution raffle, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Park roof update. Both the pavilions in the park, over here in Rosie Park, the Lions put them up and donated them to the city. And we talked Monday night, I went to the Lions board meeting, and they approved that they're gonna pay to have this roof done
Oh, good.
for both of them, so.
Wow, fantastic.
Actually, we were gonna hold off at that last meeting and just do this building.
Yep,
That's nice.
but now they said they would do it because, to make it look better yet, before some other damage happens, so.
Thank you, Lions.
Great, that's excellent.
That's pretty good.
No, Public Works update. Jason couldn't make it here tonight. I met with him earlier today and yesterday. And, we met with a Mike Novinsky from KLM on the 28th of down here, and, they actually work with ISG, our engineering company. And they give us a price for it, you got it here, actually it's about 8,600 with the cleaning and the inspection fees. And if we went into,
The 10-year plan is what I was looking at.
yeah,
So,
$860 a year, is that what it was?
yep, and they inspect it all the time, and it's gotta be cleaned every so often anyway. It was supposed to have been done 2 years ago and never got done.
so I guess my one question is, what is the 10-year service plan? I mean, really, you only need to inspect the tower every 10 years, once every 10 years. So does that include 2 inspections, and then how often or what else is included in it, or?
I gotta look at
I
it.
mean, I kinda looked through it, and I guess I couldn't understand, to be honest.
But we don't have to go into that in continuing plan. I mean, they're offering it, like, City of Red Wing has got these guys and they don't have it. I mean, they just have them do it, come in every so often and inspect it.
Mhm.
I know there's a bunch of he showed me a bunch of them around here, but then there's another company out of Iowa,
Mhm.
and we got a bid from them, and they were higher, and they were like 10,500 to do it, and
Is that just the once? Is that one time?
yep. But then would be hiring another engineering company just for the water tower, which we'd have to pay also because they do not work with ISG.
That's only if repairs need to be made, though, correct?
Yeah, if they find something.
Yeah.
So Jason and I were talking, he recommends also go with KLM, but it's up to you people. The other deal on that is that this central tank coatings out of Iowa, they don't even know if they could do it this year.
Oh, wow.
That was the other thing.
Yeah, we've been talking about it, it definitely needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. KLM said they could do it probably in a month or so. And then, World Water is coming down. They're gonna show both Jason and Todd on how to balance the tower out so to drain it and put relief valves in it so it only fills up the stem, not the top. They're doing, and Rural Water is gonna do that for free, so.
Okay, could you explain that? I don't know anything about that.
When you shut the tower down, you're trying to, right now we carry an average of 125,000 gallons in the tank,
In the tank?
In the
which
tank.
is-
the water for the town.
Oh, okay,
In the top of the tank, there's 125,000 gallons.
okay.
Okay, when they do the inspection and the cleaning, you can't have anything in there. So with the relief valves, it takes it so far up the stem of the tower and then releases it again, so you have gravity, so everybody will have water. You know, the pump stays running most of the time, but then you have everybody will have water, so if we didn't do that, let's say something happened, you'd be out of water right away.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just a maintenance deal really for them.
And it takes, like, how long?
A day, it'll all be done in a day, yeah. You drain it one day, put your pressure relief valves on your hydrants around there. Normally you put them all around the sides of the city. Drain it down, they'll come and inspect it. You fill it back up that same day, the inspection will be done all one day.
But they'll inspect it and then they'll clean the inside too.
When they clean the inside, then where does all the residues of the cleaning and all that, where's that, that goes back into the water in the stem?
No,
Or
they have to vacuum
They
that out.
do, they contain it then?
Yeah, they can't
Sure.
get that,
So it's a little
because
confused there.
then they gotta come in, we gotta have them
Test the water.
tested the well,
Okay.
or the tower again for water quality.
Right, okay, good. Yep, if they're doing all that, I mean, that's decent.
Then they're gonna clean the outside of it. The only thing everybody said, they said, we're glad that we put a dark color on the bottom, because we're trying to get that for everybody, so you don't see it as off much.
The mold and mold in.
Yeah, like Red Wings, they got that light blue tower, and the minute they clean it, 6 months later, it's already black. And it's just condensation and everything else on it, so. They said they were glad we did that with the dark color on the bottom, so. Then they were gonna inspect the paint and everything else, make sure everything's good up there yet.
Did you say inspect the paint?
Yeah, so for chipping or cracking.
So then does it get painted sometime?
Well,
Or if they-
it
if
shouldn't
they
have to get
wash it
painted,
off, it'll be bright and shiny again?
should be.
Should be, okay.
Your paint should be a 30-year paint on there.
Yeah, it's under warranty for 25 years, I know that.
So if we went with the 10-year plan with them, is that what we're discussing, or
We're discussing just cleaning it.
just cleaning it now? Okay, good. Well, it has to be done, I mean, we have to do it, and then this company is less than the other company that can't even get at it.
Well, I guess my question, I guess, my one thing I'd like to bring up is we got a tank that's been up for 10 years plus, that's never been inspected. You should have a tank inspected every 10 years. It's generally, it's kind of like changing oil in your car.
Yeah, as I said, it should have been done 2 years ago. It was put up in 2010.
Yeah, so I really think we should look at having this thing inspected on the inside. Not saying there's anything gonna be wrong, but you're gonna have some sediment buildup in there. And, it's just the best practice to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more money, but I think we should look at that. My only question is this 10-year service agreement basically says every 5 years they'll come back and clean it, but we only get billed once a year for it, so we kind of break up the payments. It's not a lump sum, I was reading through that, so that's,
$860 a year.
yeah, $860 a year is a lot easier to swallow than paying, you know, I guess.
$8,600.
Yeah, all at once, so.
Right.
Might they up it? Or do we sign?
No,
No,
it's a
we-
10-year service agreement is provided.
That's for 10 years.
So I would assume we're locked in
We are.
once we sign that.
And the other thing I forgot to tell you.
So I really think we should look at this 10-year service agreement to do this. You know, doing it every 5 years is a little overkill, but it also gives you a good knowledge of how your tank's aging and what you should look at to repair and maintain on it.
$860 a month, we get 2 inspections and then this cleaning.
$860 a year.
A year.
A year.
Yeah.
Misspoke, thank you.
That's easier on the pocketbook.
Yeah, a lot.
Seems like the right thing to do.
Right. I agree.
A motion to go forward with the 10-year service agreement.
I got a second.
I'll second.
Motion made and second and go with KLM for a tank inspection and cleaning and go with the 10-year service agreement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
And that's with the KLM.
Yes. Okay, then the other part of Jason's report here is, we've had trouble with the digester down at the sewer plant, and they got that repaired for the number 2 digester, and, it's agitating the solids because when they've been hauling, they found out all they've been doing is hauling water, no solids have been in it, so. They had dug alms in here with them, and then they had somebody from the state down here looking at it with them. So that's what that other pump we talked about a while back is for. We're still trying to find that other pump to get it to work. But they have got it digesting now, so it's agitating, so they are getting solids out of it again. They hauled a load out last week, and I think they're hauling a couple more loads out to make it before the winter. They got the playground equipment in Cranston Heights out.
Oh, wow.
We got a guy that actually come in and took it, and took it out himself, so it didn't cost us anything either. The only thing that's left up there to do is level that site off where that swing set was, and then they're gonna plant some grass there. The lift pump was installed at by the swimming pool again for that one we put in, then it went bad. Quality flow wired the pump wrong, so we got a new pump and everything and covered under warranty. The city hall roof is just got a little squares up here to do on the garage part of it, and that's done. The pool was inspected by the health department here last week, and we got flying colors on that. They said Heather Pfluger was out here and said it was one of the better ones she's seen. So they got flying colors, especially from two guys that just learned how to do it. No, that's coming from her.
That's
She
pretty good,
isn't
yeah.
that easy to
Yeah,
Oh, really? Good. Then they're doing their job, right?
yeah, she turned around, says two people that was
Oh,
barely started on it, they said the pool was one of the better ones she's looked at.
Good.
They got their gas license now, or certificate, I mean, first they can work with the gas with Kyle. So when he's out,
that was pretty fast then.
yeah, they've both been working tough on that too in their off time, so.
Yeah, that's not bad.
You giving him a raise for getting that license too? Is that part
Yeah.
of the agreement?
Yeah, it was.
Good.
So, police update, okay? Mayor's concern is, one of the things I ordered a special meeting for July 26th, and it's not a meeting per se, it's, we gotta advertise, so if there's more than 2 people down at the Grand Living, cause they have an open house, that we're not violating an open meeting law. So, that's why that special meeting. So if anybody wants to go down there for the open house, then if we're all there together, we're not.
Sure.
What time is that?
Yeah, I didn't say a time. up there.
4 to 7.
4 to
4 to
7.
7, okay,
And the dog park survey is still out there. It's not looking the real best, the way it sounded. But that'll be brought up on the 20th of July. When Mitch gets back. And Mitch is gonna be bringing somebody else with her, cause he's stepping down, I think to go to school or something, wasn't it?
He didn't specifically say to me.
The email I got, that's kinda what he said, so.
So anybody that asks me about, because I've been asking about the dog park quite a lot, so they should come in and get in on that survey either way, right? To state their opinion.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's opinion
I'm just gonna
based.
tell them, come down and fill the survey out then, because I've been asked by a lot of people and I didn't realize that till now, so that's good. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and then a lot of people there were gonna just do it under everybody's noses, and because they turned around and said to have them go for the grant, even if we don't use it. Well, that wasn't said.
Yeah.
The way it said it, and I read it, was I suggested do it, we're gonna do it, no.
Right. Okay, one minute for
Yep.
you. Jill and I have been working, or we're going to talk to Slade about the financing of the street project, because we're gonna have to borrow some money. So we'll be working on that in the next couple of weeks and talk to Northland and see how we're gonna do that. I went back and I remember if you guys, Michael, maybe I should give this to you. Back in January, I did a kind of a memo of what we owe and what our payments are and all that kind of stuff. And maybe we can make a copy of that for you, so we can figure out how much, if we're gonna use some of our current resources to pay for the street, or we're gonna borrow it all, or what we should do. So maybe you feel you could make a copy of him for that, and so but I'd expect, and then, but by the next meeting, by the meeting after that, we'll discuss that financing, how we're gonna do that, as I would suggest. And then I did, it was nothing engineer's update, but I did get or maybe you could comment as to Carrie about when they're gonna start.
Well, they're gonna have a pre-construction meeting next week,
Okay,
but it's just, they haven't got their material yet, so.
okay.
We talking Broadway or?
Yeah, those.
It's manholes and that and the culverts.
Apparently there's been some problems getting materials, like I guess everybody else, I don't know.
Sure.
But I kind of encouraged, the engineer, I think I sent you a copy of that email, that you just want to stay on top of it and get it going, so we don't want to be caught in
Yeah, cause he was,
October 1st and we got a mess.
yeah, he was gonna probably start as soon as he could get materials.
Who is, no, that's,
The contractor.
Contractor Fitzgerald.
maybe I'll voice some concerns. I think we need to really watch, you know, and have somebody watching what he's doing. If I would have been here, I'd have never agreed to having him do this project. We've never had anything he's done, as far as I know, to come out well. There's always been, he's been late, wasn't he the one that tried to pave in the rain? He had kids on equipment. I think the one time, didn't he have to use a contingency fund to finish something that he did?
We were going to, but we didn't.
Okay. So, my concern is that, I know he was the cheapest, from what I understand, but, we've just had one problem after another with him. And I know we probably can't go back on, you know, where he's been, but, I think our engineer or whoever, or city people, need to be on top of this all the time.
Right.
You know, and watching
Well,
what he does and how he does it.
And I talked to ISG on that, Reese,
Yeah,
and I told him, I said, there has to be somebody on here watching every hour.
okay, good. That helps, you know.
But then he's got a different project manager now that's actually did it for a living before.
Okay,
That's gonna be in charge here,
okay,
so it's not on the phone or anything, so.
okay. Yeah,
But there is a completion date. I can't remember what, I guess maybe I do have it there. In October, and except for the final lift of blacktop. And I think the penalty is like $1,200 a day or something like that.
good.
It was in the, it was,
October 14th.
okay, does this say what the penalty is in there? I looked at the I can't remember, Wayne, but there was a contract that had it in there.
So many working days.
Here's what it is. Yeah, between a contract between $500 and $1 million, which ours was, the liquidated damages per calendar day is $1,200. So I'm just a little concerned that it's getting late. I mean, I was concerned a couple months ago it was getting late. You guys, and so, and we don't, luckily on your street, just to use an example,
Yeah.
they don't have to do a lot of underground work or tear out work. That's mostly just reclamation or tear out and reclamations and curbs.
Yeah.
Now at the school, it's already sort of torn up anyway, but I'm just concerned about that.
Yeah. I think we need to really stick to that fee, that, any contingency funds, that kind of thing, and make them, high incentive.
Yeah.
So make sure it gets done on time, or it gets done right, so. And then I don't know if I should talk to Reese or who about this, but as far as making sure there's some way for people on the street to get in and out.
That's in the contract too, that they have to provide they're supposed to provide, at the end of the day, every day, everybody has to have access to their property. You don't have access to your property 24 hours a day, every day, there might be periods of time where that's not physically possible. But the contract does say, I'm sure it says it in there, that they have to, have to provide access in and out. There's also some other things there about time, when you can start, when you can end. There should be anyway, that's the way it's always been. That's been a challenge too, but anyway, it's really our engineer that we have to, and we're paying the engineer an inspection. Part of his service is our inspection fees too. You're paying them, whether you realize it or not, you're paying them, I think 18% or something of the contract, which is a significant amount of money. So it's his job to follow through, and if he doesn't follow through, then he needs to come back to the council and say, here's what the problem is.
That's good, that's all good to hear.
Okay.
One thing I like to say is thank our police force for their help last night. There was an accident out here.
I was in the rain.
Yeah.
Down there.
And it involved my family members, and they couldn't say enough good about what Hickory did for them and how he handled it, and he was just really, really great. So I want to make sure that, publicly mention that. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other council concerns?
somebody came up about, cleaning the office.
Oh, yeah.
I think Josh has been doing it. He's been doing it. I mean, we need to hire someone.
On Sunday.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't Anna, was it? Wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, Americans wasn't.
You got anybody in mind?
So you, when you retire, Saturdays,
Yeah,
I'll make a motion for you.
yeah, okay.
Is that something we could maybe just put in the water bill or something, just say that?
I think you should do a, post it or do it fair like we do everybody else.
Okay, sure. Yep.
And we would interview, if Lauren want to interview somebody, and did you have any parameters of how many hours they work a week, or is there?
It was 1.5 to 2 hours.
A week?
A week.
A week?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
We ended up getting a plane company for us.
What do you mean, the telephone company?
We used to have a guy do it, well, Barry used to do it.
Oh,
Sure.
And then when he did it, we couldn't find anybody to come in for little hours like that, so we got Mary maids out of someplace. I don't like it, but I mean,
It just wasn't working out well with the Mary Maids or no?
oh, it's working out, it's just that you don't know when they're coming.
Oh, they're gonna set scheduling on that.
No.
Oh, well, that seems a little odd. So,
So you wonder if they're coming because the waste basket's full and all that, and
yeah,
all of a sudden,
geez, yeah, I wouldn't like that either.
2 days later, everything's empty twice, you know? But yeah, what if you advertise that and see what happens?
I mean, nobody would be good for a, high school kid.
Well, we used to have high school kids do it.
Oh, yeah? Okay. And yeah. That's interesting, but- That's about- Could that be put in the school? If it's specifically in the school for that? That's
Any more council concerns?
I don't have any.
Public concerns? Kyle?
What's going on with this fence? I guess I want to clarify some things, some questions. Starting with, the south fence, the north fence on our property. We had to come in for a building permit for that, we were told that anything under 6 feet did not need one. So that's what I had, my knowledge.
How tall is it?
6 feet.
Six, anything from 5 feet to 6 feet needs a building permit.
That's what I'm told now, but, last summer when they put it up, that was what we were told. But I want to clarify that, that's why that fence got put up without a permit. And,
Didn't the building inspector come and see you?
I did talk to him on the phone, but
Because he was gonna come and explain a bunch of stuff to you about taking care of the fence on both sides. You have to be able to.
with that being said, is that like a lawnmower width, is we width? Because what's happening on our north side now, is we are well over, I mean, we're 2 lawnmower widths. Now after finding, after Mary found the marker, and I measured over it.
On the north side?
Yes, on the existing fence that we had done last
Oh,
year.
okay.
And all that's done is basically we've lost that yard and now our neighbors' dogs are pooping there, so we can't even mow behind it. There's kayaks. We just lost it. So if you have to maintain both sides, you can't even maintain, which is kind of a separate concern. But so that's why I asked about that, because basically we lost that part of our yard that we can't maintain. So I don't.
Tell him to get off there till the meeting is done. Tell him.
Wondering why that it has to have that space instead of being able to put a fence on the property line.
If you put it on the property line, You're going on somebody else's property to maintain it, you can't do that. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
You're infringing on somebody else's property to maintain yours. That's the reason behind it.
So that's not the issue on that, with that fence. So we were just wondering why that got brought up at all with the north fence.
Yeah, Mary and John brought that up, so, and I just wanted to clarify that.
Well, it should have been inspected anyway, so.
They went off of what the city hall told us.
Well, if a mistake was made, then we all realize it now, so we gotta move forward and comply with the ordinance, and I'm sure that's what you plan to do.
Yeah, so moving on to the south side, there's the maintaining the both sides, does that apply to the retaining walls as well?
Should be.
Because if, I don't know exactly where the line is, we found one marker, we don't know where it goes in the other direction, I've looked all over, I've looked for the marker between Mary and her house property, and I don't know if it got taken out when they did the retaining wall, if it's truly on the line, and if it is on the line, why is it on the line?
Can I haven't been involved with you people on this issue directly, but I think it's extremely important that somebody conduct a survey. My understanding was that John Ramble came down to the city and got the locator or something. That's not good enough. There needs to be, this is a really, there's two issues that I see it. Compliance with the ordinance and how the fence is supposed to be built and where the fence is going to be. The city, in my opinion, can't get into the issue about where the fence is going to be because we don't know where the line is either.
Other than having to maintain both sides?
No, you're missing on that. We don't know where your boundaries are, okay? So if, as a private attorney, if somebody came to see me, the first thing I would tell with any land dispute is there needs to be a survey done. Not just guessing about a pin where it is or where it isn't and all other stuff. There needs to be an exact survey done. And there might be two surveyors that might not agree where that, surveying is not an exact science. It's a method. Okay, so in order to hopefully allow you two people to live in peace, I strongly encourage you to get a survey done. One or the other, I don't care, because without that, we aren't gonna know if you're 2 feet off the line.
Yeah.
And I also think without that, given all the consternation here, it would probably be a good idea that we don't even issue a building permit until we know for sure where the property line is. In addition, until we know exactly where you're gonna put that fence to make sure it's in compliance with our ordinance.
And I understand all
Does
that.
that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. But
Okay.
my next question is, was there a permit issued for the retaining wall
That I don't,
on the property, if it's on the property line or?
I
know it's within a more distance from that.
I kinda doubt it from I grew up across the street and that retaining wall when Mr. Pohl lived there, has been there. I would imagine, go ahead, Mary.
Renell said Fritz is real, and Fritz and a lady that lived there, that I don't remember who that was. They agreed with,
Okay, they put it in, okay.
They put it in.
But it's, I doubt that there's probably a record that we have on that. I doubt it. And then one of the reasons I'd say that, you know, Mary? If you know, tell me, Mary.
No, I was gonna just ask about if it's okay to have, like, I had a survey done, I had it all surveyed when I moved there. So I still have that. Nothing changes, does it?
You might have had your lot surveyed,
I just have my lot.
but it's not gonna show, it's not gonna show the whole line and where it goes.
The problem that I have in this whole situation is there's been a retaining wall, which you just said has been there for
Well, as
20
long,
years.
I don't, it's a long time, but Mary could answer that better than
I've
me.
been there 19. She wasn't there then.
Okay,
Two
okay,
owners before that.
okay,
Well,
okay,
whatever.
okay,
We've been in that house for 8 years, and
okay,
that's what it was.
okay.
Another section of it I'm assuming got redone before we bought it, when Lana and Travis flipped it. So I don't know if there should have been a permit issue for that.
No, if it was
On the
already,
other side, but the main issue we have is this fence. I didn't know where the line was, so the fence is what it is, because I just needed something to get my children, our son to stay inside.
okay,
Because everyone knows how busy that road is.
sure.
We've just been under the impression the last 8 years, because I've been maintaining that part on the other side of the retaining wall,
And
and still do.
I
All
don't
right,
know,
but now we're getting into, Kyle, though, now we're getting into land ownership issues that the council can't get into. That's between you and Mary. I really mean it. All we have the power to,
retaining wall does,
That's not the community, that's for.
but I don't know, because you know what? That's why we gotta have a surveyor. And even if we get a survey done, and I think my recommendation would not even be issue a building permit until we had a survey.
Well,
I don't even really need a building permit, because I don't have, if I have to, if I went off of the retaining wall thinking that it should be 2 feet. Mary had a rock that before she found the pin, it was over 4 feet from where the pin is. So she moved the rock, now I lost 4 feet of,
No, that's not right.
No, well, anyway, no, but we're not gonna, again, we don't need,
yeah,
but we
I'm
can't,
going off of what, if the retaining wall didn't have a permit issued, then why would I not be able to go off?
I assume, Kyle, you acted in good faith. That's what you're saying.
I acted in trying to keep our kid in our yard.
No, but,
That's all I'm
all right, but you acted in good faith, and I'm not quite, it's not, but this is really, this is a land dispute between
So
property owners.
if this-
And I'm,
if this
and as far as the fence
continues,
goes,
What are we gonna do about the busy road that my son has, 2 years old?
well, your house
We have a
is,
baby and we
Yes.
have home by ourselves. How are we supposed to contain that?
well, it's gonna be, I'll tell you, I agree with you, Kyle. I remember when they built that road, back in 1975. That's when they did it, and that house probably should have been acquired, because it's too close to the blacktop, in my opinion. But that didn't happen. It didn't happen. But now, all I can tell you is that I want to see everybody get along if possible. And what our limits are as a city council is to say, issue a permit or issue it not. But your fence isn't. I mean, we have an ordinance that says what your fence can be made of.
The fence it's gonna rot within 3 years. I was hoping by then my children would be 3 to 5 years.
But Kyle, the fence is not compliance with the ordinance about
I'm just stating for the record, I got attacked by Mary and John.
No, I'm not gonna attack, I'm not taking any sides here. I'm just saying,
I'm just stating for the record, Jay.
oh, well, I'm not, I know, I get that. But what I would like to see,
She got the fence vote, all of her complaints about
Well, you
me.
can-
I'm just
I'm
trying
not-
to keep our kid in our yard. That's all I want.
and I don't doubt that. But you also, the ordinance says where your fence has to be, correct?
The ordinance says that a retaining wall is supposed to be 2 feet or maintaining on both
Well,
sides. That's why I thought the retaining wall was where it is, and that's why I put the fence up. That's.
I understand that, Kyle. I'm not accusing you of doing anything wrong. But unfortunately, the ordinance also says we regulate where it is, and also regulates the material. And your fence is not in regulation with the material. I looked at it. It has to be either a chain link fence, I believe it has to be
It's a tier
wood.
fence. What's the difference?
Okay, it's not in compliance.
We'd have to look at.
Okay. Well, it has to be a chain link, has to be a vinyl fence, or it has to be what you have up are some rails, I guess, look like birch trees or something.
Yeah.
That's not in compliance with the ordinance. Well, I'm sure they were, Kyle, but I don't make, there's not even a provision in the ordinance that allows for a variance. There just isn't. So, again, I understand why you did it. I'm not questioning that. And how you did it, I'm not questioning that. But unfortunately, I think the council's gonna have a very difficult time issuing a building permit until we have a survey and know exactly what it is and how it's gonna look. But they'll make the decisions. I can just advise them legally what to do.
The other thing about that is too, if that retaining wall was put in a long time ago, it might have been put in,
Wrong.
no, it might have been put in before they had the zoning ordinances in.
But I will double check with Travis to see if they redid that retaining wall, but I'm certain they did. It's the only section that's.
Your best bet to start out before anything goes any farther is get it surveyed.
So are we responsible for paying for that then?
You wanna know where your lines are, yes, you're responsible.
Well, I understand that we wanna know where our lines are, but we're just, I mean.
If the retaining wall is truly the line, then the established flower bed that's been there since, I'm guessing as long as that retaining wall has been, is where our fence has to get moved into. So now after losing 4 feet from having to maintain both sides of one fence, now we have to shrink our yards some more.
You don't have to do anything, Kyle.
To keep our kids in our yard, I think.
Well, okay, well, but you don't, I mean, we're not, we just have an ordinance that we've had and we don't, in the city, since I've been city attorney, does not go around looking for problems. We have what's called a complaint-based system. In other words, if somebody has a complaint, we're duty bound to look into it. And I think that usually we do, we just don't, and people can come down and make a statement at which you've done, but I just don't see any way around not having a survey done. I really don't, because we're opening ourselves up to more problems.
That'd be your best bet to start off with.
I'm just worried that if the retaining wall is the line, which is what Vernell said it is, then I'm gonna spend $1,500 to not get anywhere.
No, well,
So I'll just take the fence down, and then I guess I don't.
Well, the thing about it is,
I'm literally gonna have
what
this
it
much
is right
room to
now
walk between
is,
the fence and my house.
you're telling me, that you're just inheriting more land, because that's where you want your fence at. If it's on somebody else's land, it can't be there. You understand where I'm coming
I had a
from?
permit for a fence because it was under 6 feet, and that's what I was told I should do. I saw the retaining wall, which I had every reason to believe was mine, and that it should be maintained on both sides, because we have been maintaining it on both sides for the last 8 years, 7.5 years that we've lived there. So where I put the fence right above the retaining wall, I had every reason to believe I was maintaining both sides and on my property. Why this even became a problem, I'm not sure. Mary is very upset about her chair that I did not even break. My wife moved it, threw it in our burn pile to take care of it. It was a shattered wooden chair. When she got upset about it, I took the nails off so our son wouldn't get into it, and I set it nicely back on the rock that says not your property. That's been there since you moved in.
Well, but I don't think we should be going back and forth.
Yeah.
This is not the spot for that.
You need a survey. You need to do a survey. And that's what I
The
know.
survey might say,
Both of you.
yeah, the survey might say that, might say you got, that, the survey might say the retaining wall is on your property, and we're just guessing.
If it is, but that
Because-
doesn't, if it is, if it's a foot on my property, am I gonna maintain that? I don't know.
Well,
It's yours.
And then you're telling me that the material's not good, so I don't.
Well, I'm not telling you that. I'm not no, Kyle, you're not putting words in my mouth. I didn't say the material was no good. I'm just saying it doesn't comply with the ordinance. Now, if these guys,
Material doesn't comply with the ordinance, or
No.
the fence does?
the material does.
I thought that you had said that.
No.
material did not comply.
No, it's not, well, it's not. I didn't say the material was no good. I said the material does not comply with what the ordinance says a fence needs to be constructed on.
Okay.
Thank you. If you have any questions, you want to call me and talk about it, I'd be happy to talk to you. Happy to talk to you about it, if need be.
But do you have a copy of the ordinance?
I do. There's nothing about maintaining that, there's nothing, I mean, as far as material purposes go, the ordinance just says basically wood, finished wood, chain link, and vinyl, on the side of the fence. Stone, brick, I guess, I don't know, maybe retaining wall material. It's made out of birch trees and yearling fence that's high wired together because of high rebar. So I put up a quick cheap fence because I wanted it temporary, that's it. I wanted it temporary until my son got there to stand yard and a down there.
Never our intention to infringe on anybody's property. It would
Okay.
just be if we're going to do something that was our property because nobody's ever done or said anything about it in the last 8 years we've lived there.
I think everybody in the council says, agrees, you acted in good faith, it wasn't anything to be mean. It acted in good faith, that's what I think I'm hearing, is that correct?
Yeah.
Correct. Absolutely.
Mary also moved to Rock, which was what started all this.
No, we don't wanna, we don't wanna hear about that. We just can't, okay?
But a survey needs to be done. To be able to solve it somehow.
Well, thank you for coming though.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't make it last, before that day.
No, that's fine. I just hope you get surveys to get it all straightened out.
Absolutely.
So in the event that we do need a permit for something under 6 feet.
Yeah, you got the ordinance, what does it say there?
It doesn't say 6 feet.
And
It
the
says 4
county
feet.
said that under 6 feet.
Anything over 4 feet, it says.
Okay, whatever our ordinance says that you gotta comply with that.
The outdated one that's on the website.
No, it's not. I don't know what's on the website, but I believe the one that Kyle just quoted is our most recent fence
I think
ordinance.
that's the one that we,
Okay,
maybe it was the one on the website.
Okay. okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mary? Okay. Ann? Okay, anybody else? Terry? Okay, we'll go into motion to pay the bills.
I looked through the bills, and this now, all the taxes have, the people that paid their city taxes, that's on here now, that's why that number changed.
Yep.
That's what I thought, I was pretty sure of that.
Just as fast as it comes in, goes
Oh,
out.
absolutely, that's a marathon.
Yeah, but that, have we decided how we're doing with the COVID fund? I thought we're still COVID fund or whatever, so.
I have not officially seen exact numbers of what funds you want to put them in, but I can have that prepared for next council.
But they have to be used within a certain amount of
Yeah,
time.
2026.
26?
Oh, so we okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be used this year.
24.
Okay. Yep.
Wayne, we did talk about that back in, January of 2002, about how we're gonna pay for the streets. I know you had said you wanted something to go to the fire department, or not, ambulance or something. Yeah. But at that time, we were estimating we were gonna get about 125,000 of COVID money, and we're thinking about using some of that cash to pay for some of the street improvements. I don't know if everybody remembers that or not, and then that doesn't mean we have to going forward, but we did discuss it at that time on this.
Okay, and so then, since you brought that up, we might answer part of it too. Did you say that you've seen something on the bills for COVID money?
I thought I saw on the budget, yeah, that there was listed the amount of COVID for there.
Oh, that part of it, okay.
Yeah.
So, and then to go up a little bit in part with that, the police and, the new police car that we just bought, I technically did put that into the fund of the COVID money, just because I know that a portion of it was said to be coming from there, so it's easier for me to apply it and put it there, and put, so I can make those adjustments before the end of the year. If you spend X amount of money in COVID, instead of putting it all to the police department, then it's gonna get left there. So if I marked it as COVID, because it was flagged as the possibility of paying it for COVID, so I didn't know if you've seen that on the disbursements, so.
It was like $21,000 or
Yeah.
something.
I saw something in here about for the car washes down here at the, we do car wash, we don't wash stuff in the buildings here, or they don't, the company, or the city trucks and stuff do, or don't, or?
The city trucks wash them in here, the police cars go down to
Oh,
the
it's a
car
police
wash.
truck, okay, yeah. Okay, sure. I just,
And it's if you buy the tokens,
Yep.
it runs longer.
oh, absolutely.
So then,
Well, I just was wondering, I didn't know, I thought maybe they got a truck bay wash or something in here, I haven't been in the building, that's why I was asking, I don't know.
I guess, I did notice something I mean. I noticed on 629, Gideon Plumbing billed us for a sewer plug at the street with sand. What street was that?
I guess that would be a question for Public Works.
Oh,
I don't know specifically.
I wasn't sure if anyone knew.
Oh, yeah.
Was it up at Paps? I just know that there happens to be a couple, they've been going up there and releasing it. I can find out specifically.
Well,
what street.
we had a couple of them because, one of them was on First Avenue.
Okay, First Avenue there.
That's by Mary there coming down there by the apartment complex by Egg Partners.
Okay.
There was
You wanna
one.
tell me a check number, and I can see if I have it on here.
38118.
Oh, the other one we had was, up on Hilltop. No, that Hilltop would be like, where the new Goodyear Living is, the next street to the west. I think it was Jeff Warren, no, it wasn't Jeff, the one across the street, that Daly. And that was plugged going into the thing. That was another one. There's one on First Avenue and then could
I
be
guess
one
I
up.
don't have that one. Do you want me to go grab it? I can
No
grab
worries,
it.
no worries. I was just curious.
I can, let you know.
There's another one too, but I can't remember where you told me. Anything else in the bills? Can I get a motion then?
10 pages of bills, 3 pages of income. And all goals, right? Yes.
Can I make a motion? Can I?
Yeah.
We're all good? I make a motion, we pay the bills?
Do I got a second?
I'll second.
Motion made second, pay the bills, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. I get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second adjourn, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
It says Lexville on here, Kerry. It says sewer Lexville. Who's that? This is either Lexville, sewer Lexville. Basement plug at the street. I don't know, it doesn't matter, I don't matter.
Oh, yeah, Randy.
Randy,
Oh, it's at Randy's place up there, that's which one.
That was the other one.
Oh, he does.